Hello, everyone, and welcome to our latest webinar, Is Accessibility the New SEO? Let's get into some introductions. Myself, I'm Michael Halburn. I'm head of marketing here at Recite Me. I am a white male, 5'11", wish I was 6 foot, brown spiky hair, and I'm wearing a little black quarter-zip jumper. Who would like to go next?
Sure, I'll go.
I can go next.
Well,
Why don't you go, Dean?
Gentlemen, on you go.
Hi everyone, I'm Miranda. I'm a content designer at Brave Bison, and a quick visual description: I am a white woman with dark curly hair wearing a stripy top.
Thank you, Dean.
I'm Dean Riley. I am the marketing and communications manager for Orion Group, which is a privately owned recruitment company. I look after the marketing here. I am a white male. 5'7", nearly forgot how tall I was or short I was. Slightly balding here.
Thank you, Dean, for your honesty. So today's conversation, we all know the importance of SEO when it comes to our websites and driving, searchable traffic, but we often miss the importance and the parallels that accessibility brings to better performance of our websites for both users and search engines. So today, the three of us will unpack what that means and how that is, how that then parallels are possible for a few key sort of SEO factors, and set the scene for everyone. SEO, as we all know, is super important, but then the accessibility point of it is when people ask, is what is the audience size? What is the impact on e-commerce? And there's a great sort of statistics out there, a report around the click rate pound. And there's three key things I want to sort of put out to everyone before we jump into the conversation, which is 69% of disabled users will hit or will encounter barriers on websites. So a large proportion will move away and go and spend their money somewhere else, which is actually 86% of disabled online spenders or users. So we need to make sure that our websites are accessible because we're throwing away, eyeballs on our site and potential conversions. And what does this sort of pot of money look like that people with disabilities and their families have? It's actually 17.1 billion in the UK, which is a click away loss pound. The estimated that is being lost from businesses online due to inaccessible and having barriers on their website. So what we're trying to talk about today is the parallels of two really important parts of our websites that is going to drive better, more engaging traffic. So Miranda and Dean, our first sort of parallel, if you like, is around site structure, and the importance of that. Who wants to kick us off on what that looks like for us? Miranda?
Yeah, I will kick off.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I think for me, when I think about accessibility and SEO overlap, I'm always trying to think of what can I do for Google and also humans. And then like semantic HTML and site structure is such a great starting point for that. So this is things like having, hierarchical headings like your H1 and then H2 and then H3, and a logical page structure with like breadcrumbs and having your sitemap set up. Those are all kind of accessibility basics, but they're also pretty standard SEO best practice. And those are the things that will, enable crawlers to crawl your site and understand your content. And this is also something that's part of the web content accessibility guidelines, like guidance around heading structure. So it's really one of those kind of like foundational parts of your website that does feed both aspects and benefits both accessibility and SEO. Dean, did you have anything to add on like HTML things?
Just adding to what you've already said there, Miranda, I think good structure always just boils down to a better experience for the user, so that increases the time on the page, it decreases the bounce rate, and it just increases interaction between the user and the company. So it's really for me about how accessibility and SEO are tied together via signposting all the way through the website, be that H1 tags or all image tags or metadata descriptions or whatever it is. It basically all boils down to the same thing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Obviously, when we're in a sort of a question-based world at the moment with AI coming in, so the importance of using the H2s, for example, to navigate or anchor key parts of information, especially for a screen reader when you're clicking through and wanting to think about, well, what's this next section going to be like? The importance of that structure, so it's right for the screen reader user or the assistive technology user, but also then Google understanding what this section's about and what's it answering. So the impact of titles is becoming more profound as we move into this sort of AEO world, if you like. But once again, more importantly, the user knows exactly what that section is going to be about because it's structured right and has the right alt tag. So yeah, so super important. But once again, I think Miranda, what you said, and Dean, basic stuff, but done right and consistently will drive a better performing website for Google and for the user. I think the next one, I think there's going to be a common theme of like a compound effect of nice, easy SEO accessibility things that we can do for marketing teams that maybe don't need super tech guys and girls to do it. It might just be some nice 101s that sort of compound up. The next one's alt text. I know Dean, you mentioned them before. They're obviously super important as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It provides context for what an image is going to be about, so that that improves the image search visibility. It also gives relevance signals, so when it ensures the image supports the page topic as well, and also accessibility for screen readers, of course.
Yeah, Miranda, anything to add on the alt text there?
Yeah, I think on alt text, another way that kind of somebody told me about it a while ago of yes, it's helpful for people using assistive tech, but another way to look at it helping kind of everyone is people who their browser is like slow to load or they have poor signal or something or even if the image breaks on the website, if your alt text is kind of not up to scratch, those people also are lacking that context and can't engage with the image and maybe can't engage with the page in the same way. So it's kind of a win-win-win for kind of every user. If your alt text is descriptive and correct and adding that context. Someone else described it to me as if you write alt text like you're describing the image over the phone, which I thought was such a great tip of like, that helps you know what context to add and what to communicate across. Because I know it can be tough to think, what detail do I need to convey in this image? But yeah, that little trick really works for me of just how would I describe this to someone who couldn't see it in front of me? What do they need to know? What context do I need to make sure they're not missing?
Yeah, I think you're right on the context for it, aren't you? Because sometimes the meaning of the image is different to what the image actually looks like. So I think the context is important. I was just thinking in my head there around, obviously, when you go into the search console and Google, as we do sometimes out of the Google sort of analytical platforms, and you can see how many times the images came in Google Images. But if you've got like lots of infographics against a highly searched term within your industry, if you convey the alt text of that infographic well and someone's searching for it, you're going to come up as an SEO thing for Google as well. But the other accessibility side of it is a lot of e-commerce websites create, especially obviously Black Friday and Cyber Monday is all around us at the moment. If you have those messages built within image or graphics, but the alt text isn't there, how's a screen reader or a visually impaired user able to benefit from that offer that you're trying to provide them if they can't see and it's not in text format? They're excluded from, the purple pound. They cut down the click pound. They can't spend their hard-earned money because they can't actually see what you're trying to offer. So alt text has a real powerful parallel on the performance of your website and how someone can use your website. The next one, yes. So anchor text. This is one. This is around WCAG as well. So how we describe our links and our buttons through our website. It is a WCAG web content accessibility guidelines. It is a criteria that you need to abide by, if you like, for level A, the basics. But the impact on SEO, Miranda, it goes beyond just that.
Yeah, definitely. I think again, like this is another one of those kind of SEO basics that doing it right and doing it well has, that compound good effect. It's one of those things of, if you have a link that says like click here or read more, even if you're not a user with access needs, I think it's still kind of it's not that helpful to have text like that. I hope we can all agree. You don't know where the link is going. You don't know kind of what the point of it is. It feels a bit sort of hacky SEO, like you're just trying to include an internal link. And as Google is updating, how it scores content, everything like that, anything we can do to make content more useful is going to please Google. So yeah, for me, like the approach that I take is, can I be as descriptive as possible? Where is my link going? What information does somebody need to know before they click on it? And it's one of those also, like going back to SEO basics, it's a great time to put in your keywords. I know keywords are maybe sort of a hot topic in SEO of, are they still as relevant? But they are still helpful to include from a content signaling point of view. What's your content about? All of that stuff. So yeah, another kind of SEO old trick that we can just improve and hopefully see that boost in performance.
Yeah. Do you need to add on the
just backing up what Miranda's saying there, really just anything that we can do to signpost for Google and for users and if we can give visibility to clicking links, then all the better, and fully concur with adding some keywords in there is always good for your SEO ranking.
Yeah, like one thing I see is we all know the importance of internal linking. So inline links within our paragraphs, we'll highlight a key phrase because we know that might go to the product page from a blog. But then we litter that as a marketing team everywhere. But then for some reason, an actual button, we just put click here. It's like we forget that what we're meant to be doing, and we do all the hard yards of the internal linking through keywords and but then when it comes to an actual button, which like because a lot of people will skim read, they'll look at the H2, H3, then look at the button and just correlate the H2 to the button or the H3, whatever it may be. But if your site structure is wrong or doesn't have it, you're just going to have random buttons in fields of text. So I think that extra description is there, especially when we're looking at screen readers or keyboard users who are not mouse or tabbing through. That information is paramount to their journey, which also aligns with Google's tracking journey through your site, wanting to go deeper and crawl to things that make sense from and is it like the perfect journey through your content that's interlinking throughout the buttons, and is it adding that better user experience? So yeah, anchor links are super important. That shouldn't be readable, should be descriptive, and think of an inline link where you're telling exactly someone what to do. So audio and video, I think we're seeing these more and more often now is transcripts and captions. I think it started from an accessibility point of view, actually adding audio and video transcripts and captions, didn't it? Miranda, you are?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I think, when I first came across the idea of like adding captions and transcripts of videos, it was from that accessibility lens. But then as I've learned more about it, it's also an SEO thing because search engines can't, watch content in the same way. So if you have that transcript, it's immediately crawlable. And then it's kind of, if you're adding captions, you've already got the transcript to go. Again, they sort of feed each other. And by having that text version of your visual media, it's the same with alt text. Like then you can suddenly rank for those things, or Google can crawl it and understand what your content is about. And I think also in terms of search stuff, there's also people are looking into how transcripts can appear in LLMs and large language models. So like ChatGPT, there's chances that AI is pulling through that kind of stuff when it's performing web searches as well, because AI can't watch a video in the same way that Google can't watch a video. So it's also a win for, I guess, the evolving search landscape, if you want to look a little bit further ahead.
I agree. Dean?
Yeah, this was pushed very firmly through, I would say, social media in terms of YouTube. If you go onto LinkedIn and you're loading up a video, it's very clever at feeding it to you bit by bit, so that you are developing that best practice. But then certainly add it to your own website is taking it to another level. And again, anything that you can signpost your content with that helps the algorithm, then all the better to you.
Yeah. I think a little trick that we do here at Resite in the marketing world is, so I don't know if everyone uses Slack, but what we'll do is we'll send a video to ourselves in Slack, and Slack automatically creates a transcript for the full video.
Yeah.
So then we take this transcript from it's like an inside hack. This you take the transcript from a Slack, clean it up as best you can. You could even use AI for that, but then create a landing blog page with all that content-rich, question-answer based sort of terminology of a conversation with Chat GPT and others will love. And then you have the visual representative with the captions for the person that's coming onto the page to view that content. But also you've got then the transcript, which is content, answer question based rich, which is great for search and AI. So that's what we try and sort of do here. So hopefully anyone's searching accessibility in SEO in a few weeks' time, they'll hopefully come across the three of us talking. Yeah. But like you say, most importantly, it's stemmed from accessibility around, hard of hearing. People maybe are hard of hearing won't be able to interact with the video as such. And sometimes, bandwidth and lip reading can be a little bit difficult if we're lagging behind on things. So, captions are super important when it comes to that sort of accessibility and inclusive model when it comes to online. Talking about text and hacks and things and key rich, the readability, the importance of the words on the screen, Dean, clear and simple language, isn't it?
Yeah, I think using layman's terms, calling a spade is really what you should be doing, and cutting out any acronyms and jargon based, which certain industries can go down their own little rabbit's holes with. So yeah, Google rewards simple, well written English, and again, that affects the user journey and the bounce rates, and just gives a better experience for the user, and easier for Google to understand when it's crawling your site.
Yeah, Miranda, your experience of that?
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, I come from a copywriting background as well, so this is sort of my personal pet peeve on websites, seeing stuff that's written. Yeah, it's just, I kind of think about it as write it how you would say it to somebody. And for accessibility, this is amazing for people who either have, maybe cognitive impairments, or even people with visual impairments using something like a screen reader. If your content's written clearly, it's broken up well, that just makes it easier to digest and understand. And then SEO, we know that Google wants stuff that is people first, it's high quality, it's going to boost things like your engagement metrics. If a page is written well and easy to understand, users are going to spend more time on it rather than a big chunk of text that they immediately think, yeah, I'm not going anywhere near that. And yeah, I just think, having your page written as you would speak it is kind of web best practice overall, I would argue, in feeding accessibility and SEO. But that might be my copywriter take.
No, I think you're right. I think what Dean said as well, spade a spade. just exactly what it says in the tin. Some of the websites we go to and you look at it on the homepage, you think, what does this company even do? And
Mm.
that drives me up the wall. That I think if a person can't figure it out, how is Google going to figure out what you're
Yeah.
trying to sell or the service that you're doing? I was doing some research last week when I was doing a talk about the average reading age, and the average reading age in the UK is around 10 years old. So if you look at the average reading age, then you have look at maybe the population that don't speak English as a first language, and if they use their own translations or assistive technology, and your language on your website's super complicated or too long-winded, and your sentences are drawn out,
Mm.
how is technology and translation function and people meant to really like break down, understand what you try, and then that becomes a barrier. And then, as we mentioned before, people are just going to leave your website. So we don't have to marketing. I'm sure the three of us are say you're trying things, sometimes make things sound super fancy and wow, but sometimes it's easy just to drill it back to this is what we do, this is how we do it, this is who we help, and then all right, okay, now and dive in further. So I think that's super important from from an SEO perspective and a people centric. Um, we're flying through these. Hopefully, everyone's getting lots of good takeaways from this. The next one is page titles and meta descriptions. I think it links to readability, but maybe a little bit more on the SEO structure side here. Miranda, is that right? That one?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, definitely this is something that I probably wear my SEO hat a little bit more with this kind of stuff of thinking page titles and metadata being ranking factors. So I'm thinking how am I going to communicate what my content's about to Google? And then that's when the accessibility comes in as well, because it's all about that context, as we've been saying. So if I'm thinking, how am I describing it to Google? How am I also describing it to a person? Having page titles, like descriptive page titles, is part of accessibility best practice. It helps screen reader users understand what's going on. Yeah, it's one of those, again, I think sounding a bit like a broken record, but basic tactics done well, you don't think about how the implications beyond just kind of, oh, I've got to tick this SEO box. But actually, when you start to think about it a little broader, you realize, oh, yeah, it benefits everyone. And then that has the knock-on impact on your website of boosted engagement and hopefully boosted revenue and all of that stuff.
No, I think. And Dean, anything to add to the metadata there?
Yeah, I think the metadata is basically a label on a folder. So Google reads this to find out what the folder's about, essentially. So it's hugely important, and probably one of the strongest on-page ranking signals to include. So it doesn't really affect directly the ranking, but it does influence the click through rate, which Google does monitor. So clear metadata tells search engines, so what is the page about, and what search query does it best match? So hugely important.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's the starting block for on-site SEO, isn't it? The meta descriptions, making sure your meta descriptions, your page title, your page description, then obviously links into your H1s, your H2s, your headings, into your paragraphs, into your inline links, and then into your links of your buttons. So I think there's a common theme of starting to create a website page, the 5 or the 6 points we made there. So it has that indirect flow, parallel flow of a user going through your website, but also Google tracking or crawling your website. It's all they come hand in hand these days. Which is great to see because people centric is the most important thing, that UX and user experience, trying to get someone from maybe your homepage or a landing page, to the destination, which is hopefully a positive outcome for the user and for us as a business. Someone applying for a job, Dean, is exactly what you
Yeah.
want. I think we're flowing through them. That's I hope everyone likes fireside chat here on SEO and accessibility. What we could do if before we leave everyone is what practical step or what something people can action from this call, maybe this afternoon or tomorrow, which could make them a little bit better accessibility wise, but also boost them in SEO. Miranda, sure, all right to
Mhm.
kick off with you?
Yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think, what would I say for people to do today? I think alt text. I know we've discussed it already, but it's one of my things of it takes a little bit of upfront effort, but it's really like rewarding to do it properly. So I would say look at your like priority pages on your website, just have a look in like dev tools or use a tool like Screaming Frog to see where your alt text isn't either is missing or is not very descriptive. That happens a lot where kind of there's just sort of filler alt text I find with a lot of my clients, or alt text is missing altogether. And just spend an hour or two kind of having a go at updating that alt text, make it more descriptive, and then look at the impact that that's having. Start with a small selection of pages, see the benefits, and then work out a plan to roll it out on a wider scale.
Yeah, I think that's good point. The we had I won't name the client, of course, but we had a client that had websites all over the world, and we found that they had 60,000 images with no alt text. And obviously, you
Whoa.
could imagine, oh my God, yeah, exactly. But luckily, we had technology to be able to extract all the images, the URLs, feed them into our database, use our accessibility software to read images, write them in different languages, and then serve them back to the CMS.
Nice.
So, because you could imagine one person having to write
Yeah.
60,000, it wasn't achievable. But through technology in today's world and AI, and these things are possible. But it is a massive factor for the WCAG and for SEO. Dean, a takeaway for everyone?
I think I would start with a metadata description. Very easy to do. Simply copy the website text on the page and put it into AI and ask it to give me a metadata description for that page, and then plug it in as you go, and that will get you some quick wins with Google and ranking. So yeah, that would be a good starting point. And then after that, H1s and H2s for the header tags. And yeah, that's going to improve your website quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. I think some people get websites created and without knowing they'll go into their page title and it'll just say about or it'll just say home page. And you think, oh God, there's all these little simple things that could boost them up because the page might be really good, and nice, informative content. But if, like you said, if that meta title and description, the metadata isn't there, Google isn't even really going to get onto your page because it's not getting, we're not
Yeah.
waving to Google saying, hey, come and look at
We'll
our
say,
page.
we'll say what you do with your title tags, or
Yeah,
else your time.
yeah, well, yeah, got title tags as well. But I think the alt text on images and then your meta descriptions to pull through. And then I think an accessibility one for myself, Dean, I think you alluded to it, structure there, how someone uses your website. Um, if within marketing worlds we think of funnel pages. So we try and attract someone to a page about a topic. Does that H1, the title, see what they're trying to search for? And then by the time they get to the bottom of it, have we got them to their desired outcome? So through H title tags, images, linking, can we get them down to that joint end goal of the user getting what they want, but from a business, we're getting them to, a transaction or an outcome through lead capture, whatever it is. So making sure the journey and then the markup, the H1 structure follows that flow for the user, more importantly, and then Google. I think that'll get you to a good place where you were better tomorrow than you were yesterday when it comes to accessibility and SEO. Perfect. Well, I appreciate your time, the both of you. I hope everyone found that really useful. I've see some questions. What we'll do, we'll pull them together. We'll ping over a PDF to everyone after the fact with the recording. Any questions? I'm sure you can find the three of us on LinkedIn. If you do want to go onto the Recite Me website, or you can Google Recite Me free scan, you can go and take a free scan of your website against accessibility criteria. This will have flavors of SEO as well, and it'll give you a snapshot of where you can start on your accessibility journey. But a massive thank you to Dean and Miranda for your time today and your inputs. And I hope everyone has a fantastic day.
Yeah, thank you both. It's been a good discussion.
Miranda.
Thank you very much.